You know where Wilgus Road is? It would go up the river to Wilgus and back and take people. And what happened to the darn thing is they were growing watermelon. Colonel Prosser built this town here for a reason. The falls for power, for electricity. The water for irrigation, and the railroad. He knew the railroad was coming through here because he worked for the Department of the Interior. So he knew the railroad was coming here. And so he built it for a reason at this place. And he wasn't the first person to try to make a town. There was a guy by the name of Kinney that had a homestead, how do I explain it? Toward Byron, not so far out of town. You know where Ewell's house is?
Yes.
Ewell's house on the river. There's a house on the river that's a historic house, one of the judges.
Oh, is that right at the city line, the county line?
Just about. And this guy's name was Kinney. It was going to be Kinneyville. And then in '82, Colonel Prosser came, settled, homesteaded where Square Park is. And his wife donated that to the city in 1927 with the express idea that that only be a park. And that's where his homestead was. And those two battled, and Colonel Prosser won. And then, but people didn't like, it was going to be Prosser Falls, but people didn't like Falls names. So and this, so we had agriculture, we had water. So there was agriculture, and they were growing watermelons and fruit trees, and in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they loaded this sucker up with watermelons. Only they put them up on top, and it rolled the boat, and that was the end of the Prosser Plain. It got too heavy; it rolled that thing. Teddy Roosevelt came here when he was, and he was at the Prosser Hotel. In front of it, there is a picture of the Prosser Hotel when it had a balcony out front. Teddy Roosevelt was out in front. Yeah, on the balcony. And the flour mill is where the alternative school was. And when you go through the museum, you'll see the sacks. So you'll see the sacks in some of the cases. And that burned in '47, I think. We were just coming home from World War II, and I was like in the third grade. And that thing burned. So another big fire in Prosser. There was also a fire in the Ward building. There's your library. This is the Carnegie Library, and it was right down by the funeral home. And then the red building, the livery stable, is, I think that's the livery stable that's up on, it's a Mexican market now. Okay, that was the livery stable. That was turned down, and they put in a gas station, which doesn't look at all like this station, where it looks now, called the Town Pump. So it went from horses to automobiles.
Is that